Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences.
Today, I'm your host. My name is Hunter Thole.
Oh, yeah.
Today with me, I've got Chris Jessmore and Keith White.
What episode are we on, Mr. Thole?
We're on episode 38. I'm so glad to have you guys with me. This is fantastic. You know, I've been putting a lot of work into this podcast. The fact that you guys keep joining me week after week is just phenomenal.
Well, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm glad I could be a part of it. You know, it only took you forever to invite me on the podcast.
I know. Well, there's this real strict thing where you have to go online and fill out, you know, a participation. There's a, you know, non-disclosure agreement. There's all this stuff you have to fill out. And you finally got it filled out and notarized. So I'm so glad you were finally able to make it on, Keith.
Awesome. Glad to be here. I'm a little nervous being on camera.
Well, you're doing good so far. That's what I got to say.
Nice. Well, what are we doing today, Hunter?
Well, today we are going to talk about the whiskey of the week. I'll let Chris take it away with that.
The whiskey or bourbon of the week is Knob Creek Smoked Maple. So you should get a full-bodied, inventing maple notes that lift the smoke and that complement the rich vanilla and caramel.
Man, it's like he's like describing it off something that would be on their website, right?
I know, right?
It's crazy, but
Man,
I will
work
say,
for them.
when he was the one pouring it, and he's like, holy shit, I could smell this maple like crazy. And then we've got a little ceiling fan above us. And like 30 seconds later, it hit me. It's like, we should be pouring this over pancakes. This is crazy mapley.
Yeah, it definitely smells like maple syrup. It tastes like syrup.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think some ice cubes are going to be...
Yeah, it's a very sweet flavor up front.
I think if it gets mellowed out with some ice cubes, it'll be great, but...
That'd be good, like on top of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Like vanilla
And
ice
pancakes.
cream. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
very... We'll see what it does with that. But yeah, that first... Trying it straight up, it's very sweet.
I like this better than the original Knob Creek, by the way.
Yeah, you weren't a fan of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this definitely has a lot of... Nope, still sweet with the ice.
Yeah,
But
but
probably water it down a little bit.
but but chilled, it tastes a little better already. Yeah, but definitely coats the tongue with a nice sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is one I can drink several back-to-back of.
Yeah, it's a one-timer.
Yeah.
Good to know, though. I mean, it's definitely got a unique flavor compared to everything else that we've been trying. So
That'd be like a good mixer with something.
Mm-hmm.
I think on top of ice cream would be fucking delicious.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe like if you had like some hot apple cider, like if you made a hot toddy with it, I think it'd be, you know, pretty good. But
Probably go with our bacon bourbon that we had. Bacon smoked.
I wonder what this would be like used for an old-fashioned.
Yeah.
too sweet. You'd have to eliminate the sugar or the like sweet cherry component out of it, because I think it'd just be
Way too sweet.
Yeah, way too sweet.
Well, there you go. If you're wanting to get into whiskey and don't like the taste, want something a little sweeter, this might be the whiskey for you.
Yeah. Especially if you want to try to drink something straight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I wonder what your wife would think of this, because when she tried the Gentleman Jack, she did not like it at all.
She
So-
likes, I've let her try like the peach whiskeys that I've got. I bought a couple of those and she doesn't mind that. And I put that actually in like her sweet tea on top of it. So I think she likes it that way. But
Hunter, you're doing a great job switching these cameras. Man, it's like you've been doing this forever, right?
You know, I actually, it was crazy. I thought, why keep switching the camera angles on top? So I actually installed the angle switcher onto the bottom of the desk. So all I have to do is just simply tap here and I can switch
Man,
angles.
Look at that ingenuity.
man,
You know, they actually make a pedal for one of these that sit on the floor and you switch it with your foot.
I wonder if it's like a guitar, like effects pedal.
It's kind of like that. It's like kind of like this big, and you just kind of go through the scenes or set it up however you want to. But yeah,
That'd be interesting.
you should try that, Hunter, instead of the mounting thing.
Yeah, I already spent the time mounting it. I'm pretty good with that. So,
All right. Well, what are we doing next, Hunter?
so as you know, we've kind of switched over to this gun of the week bit that we've been doing. And so this week, the tried and true, everybody already knows about it. I don't have to talk too much about the gun. But thanks again to Eclipse Holsters. This thing, I have to mount this one on the outside because it's a Glock 17. But the holster is so comfortable on the side of the hip. You can easily put a shirt over it or whatever you want. You can kind of conceal it, but obviously not the point. It's more for, if you're going to the range or whatever. But all I had to do is simply adjust this screw here on the outside. It was a little loose at first. I just gave it maybe a quarter turn, and now the Glock slips simply in with just enough pressure where it feels nice to re-put it in the holster. But it's got enough pressure where you have to pull it out with a purpose. But if for some reason you got knocked over or someone tried to take it, it would take more force than they would expect to actually pull it out. So knowing that, you feel comfortable wearing it on your hip as you're using it. And then, of course, it's just the Glock 19 or Glock 17. Everybody knows about it. Keith, when I first bought it, it was the first gun I bought, or first handgun that I bought. And I was, the Gen 5s were out, and I was, if it's a Generation 5, it's got to be better because it's newer or whatever. But Keith talked to me about it, and it's got the little stippling and the finger grooves, which feels amazing in the hand. Gives you awesome grip, and it performs the exact same function. So, whatever comfortable for you. But thanks again to Eclipse holsters. It fits perfect. When you put it on the hip, you can sit down with it. Everything feels great.
And one thing that we were kind of unsure of is on the website when you order, there's 2 different belt loop sizes.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if that was the thickness of your belt or your actual loop. You just went ahead and got the 1.5 inches?
Yeah, the 1.5 inches. And I'm pretty sure it's talking about the actual belt size itself. Most of my belts are a little bit thinner anyways, but even with the thinner belt, like the one I'm wearing today, it still fits snug the way it's ergonomically designed. So it fits to your hip well, and it doesn't move around on me at all. So, when you're measuring that, just make sure that your belt is not going to be too thick to run through the belt loops on the holster. But other than that, they're made so well that it just fits nicely to your side, and you don't have to worry about anything at all.
Have you carried it anywhere yet?
Just around the house, acting like a, sometimes I'll pretend I'm a detective or a sheriff or something like that.
So that's when you're role playing with Jasmine, huh?
Whoa, I didn't say it.
Why else would you pretend to be a detective?
I don't know. Someone was naughty in the house, and I just had to make sure that everything was all right. But
be an old cowboy in the Western days.
Nice.
Pretend it's a 6-shooter, but yeah, no, it's awesome. So thanks again to Eclipse, and we really appreciate what you guys sent us. Yep. All right, moving on. So
you're the host. You're running this thing.
Kiefer. His name's Keith, by the way. I know he's a new guest on the show, but Kiefer, what did you purchase today? Because I got some precarious text messages at the end of last week with some outlandish things. I thought, there's no way he's going to bring this home. And he kept being like, you never know. And then last night he said, hey, you got to get over here. You got to check this out.
Well,
so
he sent me a picture of it, and I was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, look what I got. And I was like, hold on a second. Wait, that's actually in the garage. Holy shit.
You recognize the back?
Yeah.
Of everything? Yeah, I was, my wife and I, you guys, if you've watched before, we're expecting soon. So we did our first Zoom baby class, essentially. And to spare you the details, when they got into something that didn't require me to actually be listening at all, I snuck over here and checked it out. And Keith, what'd you get?
Well, if you've seen the title of this podcast, I bought a Harley-Davidson.
Ooh.
My
What
first
model?
motorcycle ever, period. I bought the Iron 883. It's a little Sportster. It's one of their most popular models, and that's been around since the 80s, that same engine and everything, the Evo. And yeah, when we got that scooter from Jacob, he brought it over probably, a month or so ago now? Probably a little.
Yeah, about a month or so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably 2-3 weeks.
He brought it over on the 10th. So
3 weeks. Okay.
yeah.
So
Less than a month in. Shit. So
less than a month.
So
So that's how
yeah.
fast he evolves from one hobby to the next.
Well, yeah, I'm like, this is cool. It took me a little while to get used to it, but then, it's 150cc engine, so you can get up and go pretty good. I can drive it down the 45-mile-an-hour roads around here, no problem. And once I got doing that, I'm like, all right, this is cool, but I want something with a little rumble to it. Something a little manlier than the fucking scooter. So then I found that, because I didn't know how to ride a bike or anything like that, a motorcycle. I've never been on one. And so I decided to take a course. I'm like, I didn't realize that there were courses you could take until I Googled it. And Harley-Davidson, which there's a dealership probably less than 5 miles from here, does a learn to ride class, 3 days. Signed up for that. Trying to get Chris to do it, but he won't do it.
I don't need to get in trouble on a bike because I already know how I am. So I'll let you do it and I'll learn and watch from you.
Oh, I'm gonna be like, dude, this is awesome. And I'm gonna cruise around your house all the time. You're gonna hear me, and you're gonna be like, damn it.
Yeah, probably.
Don't worry, Keith. I'll do it with you.
If only Jasmine would let you, I would love for you to do it with me.
Okay, so quick question. What inspired you to get a rainbow flag color paint job on your motorcycle?
A rainbow?
Mm-hmm.
I like Lucky Charms.
Mm.
I was thinking maybe I find a pot of gold.
That all makes sense to me.
Right?
No hidden messages there at all.
No, I went with the all black. Because Marie, when I told her I was looking into getting a motorcycle, did a bunch of research, like online, YouTube, like a ton of research.
Sat on a couple and kept sending pictures like, hey, come on, you want to take this course?
I went a few times to sit on them because obviously I can't test drive them because I don't have my license yet. But, just sitting on them and feeling them, you can get an idea for what you like. And styling, just looking at a bike. To me, I wanted a cruiser. I wasn't interested in sport bikes at all. I know Chris is the opposite. He wants a sport bike to go fast. But me, I just want to cruise. I want that loud, deep sound that you get with the Harley. You can get that with the other bikes, the other cruisers, like with like an Indian Scout I looked at and was really tempted on too, that the guy modded out like crazy. But I'm like, man, if I'm gonna have a cruiser, I want a Harley. Like, I've never had one. You hear people either love them or you hate them. Like, there's lovers and there's people that just sit there and bash them.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Once you go take your course and you start riding.
But everything I've looked online, the Sportster, the Iron 883, is their intro, kind of a good bike for beginners because it's got a smaller engine that you can upgrade to a larger engine, no problem. And it's the most customizable bike. Like, there's so many aftermarket parts that you can get for it. And I tried to look up bad things about this bike in Harley-Davidson, and I found way more good things than bad.
So you say it's so customizable. What's the first thing you're going to do to it?
Exhaust.
Right off the bat.
Oh, well, first thing I'm going to do, very first thing, is put an engine guard on. That's in case I drop it.
Noob.
Yeah. Hey.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone
I've ever talked. He's never owned or ridden a motorcycle.
Everybody I've talked to, experienced guys, whatever, they're like, we still drop our bikes. Like, even if you move it in a garage and there's like dirt on the floor and they're not paying attention, they drop it in there. So, and plus those engine guards, like if you want to stretch your legs out, you can rest your legs up on there. They're kind of like highway pegs at the same time too. So I'm going to add that. That's going to be the exact first thing before I really start riding it. And then eventually the next thing is going to be the exhaust. Stock exhaust is okay, but you don't get that loud, deep Harley rumble. So
sounded pretty good to me in the garage. But then you were also telling me that you wanted the highest ape hangers you could possibly get, right? You wanted it all the way above your head?
well, I grew up watching West Coast choppers or Orange County choppers. That's still cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like your arm's going to sleep.
No, I that would be so I feel like my arms would go to sleep because it's like that looks
Of
uncomfortable.
course, if you have to ride it for more than 5 minutes, all the blood's drained out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those look ridiculous. I don't know how people do them. They did have a used bike up there where somebody had modified and they had mini apes on it. Those weren't bad because I think they were 8 to 12 inches high, and those felt better because they come up about even, so your arms are about straight out. But I'm gonna stick with the stock handlebars for now until I decide.
It's probably something you'll get to as you start riding more. You'll get a feel for it, because which I don't think you probably ever will, if you were going to go on long, like maybe cross country or cross state cruises, you definitely want something at a more comfortable hand range. But for someone like you who's probably just taking around town or like a Sunday ride, those modifieds probably wouldn't bug you because you're not going to be on the bike 8 hours at a time.
Yeah, and this specific bike, the Iron 883, is not meant for long distance highways. It's only got 5 gears. Generally, you want 6 if you're getting on the highway, so it's not revving so high. You're not pulling so many RPMs. But for me, it's going to be a while before I get on the highway probably anyway. But I just want to cruise around, just around town and or wherever. Maybe do some short highway trips. If so, maybe go down the pit, which is like an hour. So nothing too crazy. And just do that. So that's what this bike is for, just cruising.
Just to cruise. Who are you cruising with?
Myself, apparently. Chris was like, yeah, I'll take the class. And then all of a sudden now he's not going to take it.
Just because I know if I get a bike, it's going to be a sports bike.
Everybody that listens to this, in the comments, even if you're listening on Spotify or whatever, jump on YouTube real quick and be like, just rag them. Like, dude, do it.
If I got a sports bike, I'm going to be very particular. The only, if I don't get a sports bike, I want like a cafe racer. And even then, you're going to be modifying the crap out of
Well, you're going to modify any bike that you get, really.
Yeah. But
that's what a lot of the guys I was talking to when I was looking at bikes, they're like, you're eventually going to make this bike your own.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an AR. You customize it to yourself.
Look, I'm already into cars, I'm already into guns, and I'm already into fishing, okay? I do not need to get into motorcycles.
This is kind of like cars. It's got an engine and wheels, right?
Yeah.
It's just short 2 wheels and and everything around it.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean,
I don't know. It'd
be fun if I cruise by your house and then you come out and then we cruise off somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be fun. I'd love to have Hunter do it, but he's got a baby on the way, so that's probably not the best idea. Actually, it'd be a great idea, but the wife put a...
Let's wait till next spring, and we'll rediscuss this.
And to be fair, the baby does not play a part in any of this. I've been with my wife. We've been dating for 10 years, married for 3. About year 3, so 7 years ago, I kept telling her I want to get a bike. She has put the kibosh on that the entire time. So what I need to do...
Just do and ask for forgiveness later?
No, hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I'm just going to have to go get a rental unit, one of the... Storage units.
A little 4x4.
And then Keith will just be like, hey, Hunter's riding bitch for a little bit. Don't think we're gay or anything. We'll ride up, go get my bike. We'll take a cruise, come back. No one's the wiser. Good to go.
Just ride the scooter over there. I don't even think she's...
I think that's gayer than me riding on the back of your bike.
I only got a single seater on there right now, so I don't know.
We'll sit on your shoulders. It's fine.
We'll just get really nice, tight, and close and hug each other.
No, but I've always wanted one. My grandpa owned a bike forever, and I can't remember. He used to have I think it's like a Triumph Bonneville or something like that. It's a
Bonneville or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it's a Sportster type bike, but it was like the older version of that. I don't know if they were called that at the time. And then as he got older, he kept graduating to, sports car to old school Cadillac with the cushion seats. You know, you're driving and you're freaking all the way lean back. He had a Honda Goldwing, and the thing had the massive windshield with all the speakers, the massive saddlebag. So essentially, he was just like on a futuristic, you know,
Why don't we get
levitating bike.
We
But
should get those slingshots. Have you seen those?
what's a slingshot?
Like it's 2-seater. It's got the 2 wheels in the front and the like middle.
Yes, yeah.
It's like a bike, but it's not, and you're still kind of
It's
in a
a
cockpit.
little bit safer, but
Yeah.
they're quick as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two should get that together.
But anyways, so then my grandpa eventually graduated to that Goldwing, and that's when I was old enough to remember it. That's what he rode. But he'd ride, you know, they'd plan out like 4 days and they'd take a massive trip, you know, all back roads and stuff like that. And I always thought it was the coolest thing. Super hyped. I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I should be able to decide if I want to do this. You get married, not allowed to. So the lesson is, kids, do not get married.
I'm married. My wife gave me the go ahead, but her stipulation was it's got to be all black.
And that you have to raise the
Life insurance.
life insurance. So
Yeah, that too.
I don't know. You better double check and make sure your brake wires aren't cut or something before you hop on
Yeah.
that.
Yep. No, it's fine. Like I had no interest in really riding my motorcycle until I rode that scooter. Then I'm like, all right, I kind of get it now.
I even brought up when we went on the Tennessee. I was like, maybe we should get bikes and just do this next time. We'll all just cruise on our bikes together. And you're like, oh, fuck that. That'd be gay.
Well, guess
Now
who's-
look.
Well, yeah. Now you're not getting a bike. What the hell, Chris?
Also, if Marie stitched us up some badass leather cuts, we'd look cool as hell riding down the highway.
Oh, we're doing the Olathe freaking Sons of Anarchy because I'm a gun dealer already. So we're already dealing in guns.
Mhm.
Boomstick tactical.
Mhm.
Yep.
You're gonna have to get one of those holsters that you attach to your bike.
And then like a shotgun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had them in the Sons of Anarchies, but I recently watched Chips.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
seen it?
Yeah.
And you know, there's the scene where Dak Shepard was chasing the son of, you know, the bad guy's son, and they get up at the top and yells freeze, shoots, misses every shot. Then the son has a holster like right above the gas tank, perfectly fit. He just pulls that thing out and is ready to go. So Keith, you're gonna have to.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that for sure.
You said you wanted Sons of
Anarchy on your bike.
Anarchy Olathe, so
I'm going to have the saddlebags just fill them with guns and freaking, yeah. It's going to be awesome.
dude, the sarcastic look on your face is disappointing me. I want you to do this. Why are you being like this? So anyway, you got the bike
Yes, I got the bike.
and you take your course when?
So the soonest I could take it, because of our bartending schedule and everything else going on in the fall, September 23rd is the. Now it wasn't even actually able to really do it until mid-October, but I found somebody to cover my shift. Actually, our neighbor across the street is going to cover my shift at the wedding that week because she's going to join there. So I'm like, sweet. So at least I get it a little bit sooner than originally planned. That way I get more time before winter to learn.
Since you're such a rebel, are you going to break the law a little bit and ride around the neighborhood, or?
Of course.
When?
I got tags on it. The only way I'm going to get in trouble is if I get pulled over.
True.
When is after I get those engine guards. Because I know it's a really bad idea to buy a new bike for your first bike, but I don't give a shit. I want to be, because I was looking at the used ones, and a lot of them now, especially those Sportsters, are all modified somehow. It's like, I don't know if this guy did it right. Yeah, he could have, knocked the bike over, laid it down, and maybe replaced some of those parts, made it look like it wasn't. I don't know. I just like especially with the Harleys, they keep their value. The difference between a used Harley that, wasn't like from 2013, that was relatively new within the last 5 years versus the newer one, the price difference wasn't that much different. And then when you buy new, you get the full warranty from Harley, you get tires for life and all this stuff. So with buying a used one, even from a dealer, you have to buy the extended warranty if it's still available. And then, yeah.
Well, hell yeah. And I got to say, so Chris was already over here before I got home and I could walk over. And Keith decided to do a little mini burnout on the driveway.
Yeah.
Apparently, you got to put a clutch in to put it in gear.
Turns out.
But that's what that class is for, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like they literally, the first night is just all classroom work, learning about everything. And then the next 2 days, it's from 7 to 5, which is going to suck because I have to be there by 6:45 every morning. And I'm not a morning person.
No, he is
So
not.
it's 2 full days of just, they start you off from just sitting on the bike, rocking it back and forth, learning how to start it, and then just getting comfortable with that friction zone with the clutch. And then you start maneuvers. I don't really think you get out of, I don't even know in that class if you get in a third gear or not.
Really?
You may
After
get
2 8-hour days, you don't ever get into
it's more about being comfortable handling the bike at slower speeds, because it is much harder to maneuver a bike at a slower speed than a higher speed. So they want to make sure that you're good and comfortable doing it slow.
Okay.
And then when you're, and then at the very end, you take the certification class or certification test to get your license. And if you pass, they give you the certificate that you need to take to the DMV and get your motorcycle license.
And so that replaces the actual DMV test to get the
it's the
motorcycle
same.
license.
It's the same test as everywhere, but this it just alleviates me from having to do it through the DMV.
And now, what is it going to take me to convince you to learn how to ride the bike really well before you go to the class? And then on the first day, when they get you on there, you just kick it into gear and just take off, fishtailing, but just under control and just ripping
Standing
through.
burnouts.
Uh-huh.
My thing is, I don't want to learn any bad habits, and then,
Owning a bike is only a bad habit.
yeah,
so-
but it'll be interesting because it's a 12-person class, so the max that's in that class is 12. And I've seen a lot of videos on there, and a lot of them are literally like me, nobody that's ever ridden them, or even women trying to ride them. So it should be
the lesser sex.
right.
Just kidding.
Should
Just
be pretty
kidding.
comfortable
Don't
though.
cancel me, please.
It should be pretty comfortable because everybody doesn't know what they're doing and just kind of starting from the same area.
Right. You're
Not-
not going to feel like a fish out of water. Everybody's
Right. Everybody in
the same
here
boat.
like, oh, I've been riding forever. I'm just, doing this to brush up or because I have to renew my license or something. Everybody's going to kind of in the same boat.
Mhm.
And so they teach you from the bare
Watch, this is the
basics.
week that like everyone has all the experience comes.
Yeah.
And they
Or it's
just
going
are-
to, or
they're
it's
just
going to,
ready to get their
Yeah.
licenses and they're all ready to go.
or it's going to freaking rain.
Yeah.
What that reminds me of, though, is we've talked about it plenty of times on this podcast, but if you've got a wife or a girlfriend or anybody who wants to get in a class, sounds like this is a gun to learn how to handle a gun safely. Sounds like you're going to be in a similar situation where
But with motorcycles.
one's a motorcycle, one's a gun, but everybody's a novice to the class. And
Well, and the thing that with women is most of them are shorter and can't fit on a lot of bikes to flat foot both feet on the ground. So they actually have bikes specifically that are lower for women to be comfortable in flat foot. So they definitely focus on that because, it's kind of like guns. It's nice to have women getting into that. And so they want to make it to where they can and not feel intimidated or scared or have a bike that's too big, because there's nothing worse than having a bike that you can't touch both feet on the ground, because then you're going to be afraid. And
or is way too heavy. And even if you can get your foot on the ground, you're
Dropping it.
yep.
Dropping it like it's hot.
Well, we're just pioneers here, just blazing the trail for women to get into all sorts of reckless shit.
So I've been super busy with that. So I didn't have a gun topic of the week this week because I haven't touched any of this stuff since our last podcast last week, just because I've been doing a bunch of research and then
Sending us pictures and-
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, I went and sat on a bunch of bikes, like even like Kawasaki's, and I'd sat on a Triumph. It wasn't as comfortable. I didn't like the exhaust. I like the dual exhaust. This had a weird single exhaust that looked funny. I'm like, you could change that obviously, but the other one I almost bought was a Indian Scout, and I've tried to find them used. Like, you can't find an Indian Scout anywhere used. and even finding them new is really difficult. There's an Indian dealer, which I went to and tried out all these different bikes, and they're like, yeah, they are, if we get an Indian Scout in, it's gone super quick because they're great bikes. And they had gotten this one in that was just beautiful. Some guy did a lot of upgrades to it, and they were like great upgrades. Sounded nice and loud, had a Vance and Hines exhaust on it, and it just
sounded amazing.
It looked sweet and everything, but I'm like, that looks too pretty for a first bike. Like, I would feel bad for dropping this. Now, the Iron 883, you know, if it gets dropped, not a big deal.
I would still feel bad.
I'm going to feel bad for dropping it, but
he went with the black on black, and it is
sick. I'm going to post some B-roll on here, some pictures of it. But that Scout, though, I would have felt even worse.
I came over yesterday.
Should have just done both.
Yeah.
When I came over yesterday to check it out, I really didn't even have words. I just kept looking at him like, holy shit, you bought this? I was just staring at the bike like, oh my God. Because just like the basic shape of it is so aesthetic. And then the fact that everything is just murdered out and looks so good.
And it's not a glossy black. It's they call it a denim. The color's denim, but yeah, it's a matte black. And just, I don't know what it is. Of all the bikes I looked at, I really like the Sportster look. It's just a simple, clean look.
That's how I've always been too. And a long time ago, when I was talking to my grandpa about a bike I'd want, I was looking at the Triumph bikes, and in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's an English company.
I don't know.
And so he said that, and I'm probably wrong on this, I'm probably remembering this wrong, but because England doesn't have wide open highways like we have, it's a lot, you're not taking as long of rides and stuff like that. So the seats aren't as comfortable, but they look sharp. They look clean. You don't need all that power because you're not getting up on the highways and stuff like that, but they're just overall really good looking bikes, but it might not necessarily, especially because we live in Kansas, be a great bike for here. But just, I'll have Keith post a picture of the specific one I have in my head on the screen for you guys, but man, they look so sharp. And that was my number one bike. But then until I saw Keith, I was like, move out the way, because this one looks amazing.
I also sat on a Harley Softail. It was the Street Bob, which was another beautiful bike. But I'm like, all right, this is too much for a first bike. That might be one I upgrade to.
What's a Street Bob? Explain that.
Street Bob. It's a Softail. It's an all blacked out Softail. So it's like the bigger brother of the bike I have. Like, it's thicker, and like the gas tanks are much bigger and everything. It's just instead of having that black and chrome look, it's the kind of like mine, all blacked out.
Yeah,
that's why it's the Street Bob. That's the model, the blacked out version.
So if I do get a bike and get my license and it's a sports bike, you gonna ride it?
Well, probably, because I'll know how to ride by then. So yeah.
Okay.
It's just where the pegs are, it's behind you, versus with my bike, it's more in front of me.
I just love the way some of these street bikes look.
They do look badass.
Yeah. Like some of the Apillas that I look at and the BMWs, it's like, I want one.
They look nice, but they don't have that nice deep rumble sound.
No, they got that high pitch like indie sound, like get out the way, I'm coming.
But those are the bikes that are involved in the most wrecks, though.
Get out the way.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are always getting wrecked.
Yeah. But they are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the cruisers I like, I don't know. If I got a bike, it'd be a hard decision.
What if we got like a hard plastic shell that looked like a car that I could put my bike in the middle of, so when I was backing out, my wife thought it was a car, and then drive up the street, pop it off, boom, good to go.
Wear it like a cardboard thing with the straps and everything.
Sorry, that was so stupid. I was like, how can I fool my wife into letting me get a bike?
I don't know. I'll just get a sidecar and put it on my bike for you. You sit in there, and I'll put a fixed steering wheel so you can feel like you're steering.
Yeah. And you got to be like, hey, boo-boo.
Oh.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. I mean,
Me and Chris are gonna be driving by next spring or summer, and we'll be like, "Can Hunter come out and play?" And she'll see we're on a bike. She'll be like, "Nope."
I mean, it's only fair since I host this podcast. It's only fair that you host the bike and I ride side saddle with you.
All right, we'll get you a sidecar.
Go buy one of those mini like electric ones for like kids. Can Hunter come out and play, please? And have that in our hands.
Yeah, she's not. She doesn't even like the thought of you riding the moped at all.
She had a case that she recently saw a case where some lady, like the injury wasn't bad. She got tapped. It's what she was talking about when you guys came in, and that completely killed one of her teeth. But then she sent Keith and I the other day a picture of the x-rays of somebody who got T-boned by a car. They weren't going very fast. I don't know how it happened. He broke a couple bones, but there was no serious, he wasn't crippled or anything. Slight concussion. He had a full helmet on, but the way, I don't know, however it hit, it dislocated his jaw and his teeth slid across the bottom and shattered all of his teeth. And so Jasmine is taking this one incident and acting like if you ever ride a bike, this is going to happen to you. So
and she doesn't realize her dad had a soft tail for a long time.
Oh no, she realizes.
And he's a dentist.
Oh, she realizes. She is just she's stuck in her ways.
I think it's the fact that you guys have a baby on the way is really why now she's like putting the foot down.
I'm telling you, I've been not asking, but talking about getting a bike for the last 7 years, and the entire time she's been adamantly against it. And then my mom is no help because my mom's like, there's not a chance my baby's getting a bike. So those two just team up on me, and all
right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on another guy's trip.
Yes.
The weekend of the 23rd.
Yes.
Or to go out next year.
Hunter and I are just gonna have to stay at a hotel and go down to Harley-Davidson for the day.
Hey Harley, do you guys have rooms here so our wives don't find out?
I'm sure we can go to like Tennessee again. I bet they got a Harley dealership. Let's just take a whole week.
Oh, there's a Harley dealership in every state, I'm sure.
But let's do it somewhere.
We'll fly and then we'll sit there and then we'll ride back.
Hell yeah. But let's not do Tennessee again. Let's go maybe like
Kentucky, Buffalo Trace.
No, I think we should go somewhere like Louisiana or something like,
Oh, I hate Louisiana.
What about South Carolina?
What about California? And we'll ride that Highway 1 along the coast, nice and curvy.
Yeah, they split lanes there.
Yeah,
Keith, I would say
that's
yes.
not legal here, right?
No, it's not.
Keith, I'd say yes to that, but if they found out that you sold guns, I'm scared you'd get the hanging.
Yep. Can't go to California.
So we got to stay southern. Let's go to Texas.
We'll just that's like another...
Texas, we just show up and sign our names. They'll be like, here's your license. There you go.
You have the right to ride. Let's do it. Of course, traffic down there. I would never want to ride a motorcycle in Texas, in a big city anyway. Man,
I don't know.
Everybody flies and they're just like, don't give a fuck.
I know at least 3 people that have ridden. They've been in accidents. So that's one thing I'm kind of leery about.
Yeah.
Like one of them, the guy shattered his whole arm. The other one, I guess he braked way too late, or the truck just slammed on its brakes and he went into the back of the truck. But yeah.
Fuck that.
When I was looking
on
at
the highway.
Yeah.
That's like
the
upper half of your body getting severed from the lower half of your body.
Well, he freaking like went up and over the bike and landed in the guy's bed.
Well, I guess I'd rather land there than the street, right?
Yeah, but man, you fall, you're gonna get hurt. No matter what.
That's what I'm like. The highway, yeah.
Yeah,
you can keep it side streets for a while, but I know on the side streets, and you got to worry too about like intersections and stuff. But I mean, Sunday mornings are the perfect time
because no one's out,
less traffic.
But you're not a morning person.
I'm gonna have to be. Yeah,
it's so easy. It's so
5.
easy. Yeah. Just go to bed earlier,
or go to bed at the same time.
Well, yeah. Now that I don't have a neighbor that's always coming over and staying at my house until 2-3 o'clock in the morning anymore, I never see Hunter. He just hides in his little house over there. Doesn't cut his grass or anything. Just
Sometimes Jasmine looks at me and she's like, "What are you thinking about?" And I was like,
I
the
know
good
Keith's out
old
in his garage
days.
right now.
"The good old days when I was allowed to hang out with my buddies." I'm just kidding. That's obviously not it. But with the baby preparations, I mean, I shouldn't laugh at this. This is really not funny. But she can be in a sitting down position, be on her feet for 20 minutes, and within those 20 minutes, her ankles grow quite literally to twice the size. I'm like, how the hell does that happen? But it's being pregnant, so there's a lot more. I want to be a good husband, so there's a lot more sacrifices I have to make now rather than keeping Keith up to all nights of the hour.
Well, you did this to her. Realistically, this is your fault. You did this to her.
That's her kid. So, anyways,
It's not Lee for the name, so it can't be lethal.
Oh man, my sister still bugged me about that constantly. What's the name going to be?
That's going to be his
tell me it's gonna
nickname,
be Lee.
apparently. Then
Please tell.
Lethal.
Did you see I'll send a picture too to Keith so he can put it up on here. But I like to play disc golf quite a bit, and so my sister, Jasmine and I haven't told anybody what the name's going to be, and so my sisters just started guessing names, and then one of my sisters was like, "What are you going to name him, Frisbee?" And I was like, "No," and then so both my sisters were just like, "Oh, it's going to be Frisbee." So that's been the
Ongoing joke.
ongoing joke, the inside thing for the last, I don't know, 6 months. And so during the baby shower, my older sister had someone make a custom made picture that fits with the theme of the nursery that just says Frisbee in the middle of it. And so he
Nice.
hung it right above his crib and it just says Frisbee. So if he's born and he doesn't look like the name we think he's going to be, I guess he's Frisbee or Lee. Doesn't matter. Lethal or Frisbee. I don't know.
Watch. He'll be like, "What's the name? Lee. That's the name. I wasn't going to tell you guys. Y'all guessed it. I just played it off."
Yep.
No, I like our name, but it's one of those things. I've heard so many people talk about when they're naming their kids, they get dead set on a name and then they see the kid and they're like, this does not fit that name at all. So
We didn't care. We just went with what we picked.
you guys went through the baby book and
No, we didn't even do that.
did you just do a
Like,
random this is
no.
it?
No, we sat there and kept saying, "What do you think about this name? What do you think about this name?" And then we eventually agreed on it. Ryder Mason actually came up with, and we didn't realize where he got the name until later.
Jasmine absolutely loves Ryder.
Where'd he get
The
the name?
name.
Paw Patrol, the guy that runs the little dogs and all that, his name's Ryder.
Nice.
Mason's just your run of the mill. What's her younger brother's name? But Ryder, she's just like, that is such a cute name. She's just obsessed with it. But it's good when you get a name that's not too weird, but is unique enough, you know? And it's kind of the thing.
Or also a name he's not going to be made fun of
Yeah.
all the
Mhm.
time for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It took us a while for Mason to figure out what we wanted for his name.
How'd you decide?
We just went through different names we kept coming back to Mason and like Mason Jars, Mason Dixon Line for Georgia, where she's from. And so it just, fuck it. That's what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
My brother-in-law's name's Mason, so whenever I hear your son's name, that pops in my head too. So I can't think of like the creativeness that came into it, but
yeah, it took us a while. And then Riders, we had like 15 different names we liked.
Ryder's a sick name. Dude.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith? What are you going to name your son? With your second wife, of course.
I don't know. I'm really indecisive, so picking a freaking name not going to be easy.
I would say Keith knows me well enough to know I'm extremely indecisive as well. And when Jasmine told me, it was the first name I liked, so I just freaking
Went with it. Yep, that's
Iron
it.
Helmet. Nope, we're not changing it. I like it. I don't want to have to think about it again. But then every once in a while she goes, "Are we sure that's what we want to name it?" And I'm like,
Yep.
I've been calling
It's already committed.
him that in my head this whole time. So yes, that is what we're gonna call him.
Don't want to get a different name and get mixed up.
Oh, I can't wait to meet Lee. So,
Yeah, I know. You're going to be the cool neighbor and then Uncle Chris over here.
I'm gonna get the cool neighbor with the cool bike, and then
Causing all the trouble.
We're just going to call you Motorcycle Man. He's never going to know your name.
the motorcycle man. So, how long do you plan on keeping this mustache?
Oh, it's coming off soon. It's driving me absolutely insane.
You're not gonna, you got to have the first baby pictures with the mustache.
I drank a coffee this morning. And I swear to God, I smelled it till 1 p.m.
Doesn't it give you that little boost of energy afterwards, though?
No. For all the viewers,
I mean, you could trim it up a little bit, but
nah, I've been keeping it pretty tight. I trim the hairs closest to the lips so they're not curling in my mouth and stuff like that. But
I mean, you got to go to the hospital in your freaking New Balances, the mustache,
brutal. I shaved it in as
tube
a joke.
socks.
I shaved it in as a joke. Jasmine, and I think I talked about this last time. I have this theory. She told me she really liked it. She's never liked my mustache before. She said she really liked it. And I was like, okay, maybe her hormones are being like, all right, dude with more hair on his face, good, make a good father figure. But when I thought about it more, it's like, she's uncomfortable with how she looks as she's pregnant. So she wants to knock me down a couple pegs, be like, let this guy have a fucking pervert mustache, and then we're on the same level. So then I was going to shave it off before we did our pregnancy picture or the maternity photos. And she was on board with that. She actually didn't want me to shave it off, but she left out the fact that the photos, so we took them at a large nursery type place, but like customers can come in and out. She left out the fact that we weren't doing this before they opened or after they closed, but we were going to be doing it while customers were staring at me while I'm freaking doing all these awkward ass positions for these photos. So once I found that out, I was like, oh, I'm keeping the mustache. And now
done,
this
like whole spandex and things and make it real like 80s look.
Dude, there's one of me. I'm down on my knee. I'll send it to Keith. He can put it up. I'm down on my knee, like holding the bottom of her stomach like this and staring into her eyes. The second we're done with that shot, I look over and there's 4 dudes just looking at me like, that poor motherfucker. So now I'm just keeping it out of spite, but I'm definitely ready to get rid of it.
Did anybody play like music behind you?
Nope. I didn't even get that
Man.
courtesy. It was just pure dudes looking at me with so much sympathy like that poor bastard.
Well, with Halloween coming up, though, you can go as Goose from the freaking
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Get you some aviators.
What's Top Gun?
Yep, this
Here
stupid
we go.
movie, but you should still be the character.
Something that we showed you and you've already forgotten about.
And when you make an entrance, we'll play that Danger Zone song. We'll smoke in the background as you walk through in your freaking flight suit, your aviators, and your mustache.
Big
It's
old
actually,
stogie.
Yep.
It's actually a accurate song for my life because everything I do, my wife's mad at me, so I'm always in the danger zone.
So this guy's trip on this September 23rd, she'll be mad at you about.
Danger zone.
Might want to wait till like springtime.
For
Yeah.
The guy's trip.
I was talking about the class.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what I was talking
All
about.
I know
too.
is we definitely have to go on another guy's trip because that was so much fun.
Well, you're going to be, I don't know when you're going to be able to go.
As long as I got liquid IVs, will be great.
I've already said this. That's her kid. I'm good to go
Yeah.
whenever I want.
Yeah, you say it when she's not around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she never listens to this podcast.
Yeah. She'll hear it like 6 months later and start hitting you for out of nowhere. And you're going to be like, what the fuck was that for? For that fucking podcast. And you're going to be like, what podcast?
Mm-hmm.
So Jasmine listens sporadically, but her mom actually listens to quite a bit of our episodes. And I guess one day, I didn't even think I wasn't talking shit. I was just expressing my opinion. Jasmine comes home and is like, guess what my mom told you? And her mom ratted me out of what I don't even remember what I was saying. It wasn't like egregious or anything, but I was like, are you kidding me, Vanessa? What the hell? I should have never
man.
told you our podcast name.
Man. This whiskey
It's real sweet.
is difficult for me to drink.
My whole tongue is coated
And
in
maple.
sugar and maple. Ooh,
That's all I taste.
I'm disappointed.
I thought about after I finished that last glass about going and getting that.
And then you poured us more.
that old Mills.
Then
Yeah.
you poured us more.
You know what
It's-
I thought about it the next day? Yeah, it doesn't taste like the traditional bourbon we're used to now, or sorry, Irish whiskey we're used to now. But I kind of liked that not an off flavor, but just like however,
Different
yeah,
palate,
the
pretty
different.
much.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I think you liked it because it had Thomas Shelby on it.
Well, that's true, but I actually didn't mind the taste.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. This one would be like a one drink. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be sitting in that globe for a while.
Just like that banana flavored
Yeah.
Hollerhead. It's bad.
I remember I wasn't on that. I was late.
Yeah.
I was on that podcast. And you're like, "What does this smell like to you?" Runts. Take a sip of it. Terrible.
So, Hunter, what do you have planned for the future of this podcast? What's going to be an upcoming episode? Anything?
So what I'd really like to do is be a little more interactive. You know, we all like to play disc golf. Well, Chris and I like to play disc golf. Keith, it's like holding a gun to his head to get him to go. But, you know, we're going to have some motorcycle riding videos.
We're going to do that on the podcast?
Yeah, you're gonna strap a GoPro to your helmet as you.
I want to,
And
but
we're
GoPros
definitely-
are expensive.
And we're definitely going to start clipping stuff because that's very easy to do. And it just gives the people something to watch and distract from our ugly mugs for a second. So that's very easy to
you get a
do.
bird's eye view. You can give your own motorcycle lesson and everything.
We're going to start, not necessarily for the podcast, but if you're following us, you probably also follow Boomstick Tactical LLC on YouTube. So we're definitely going to start putting out more gun videos. We've been pretty lazy on that recently. I'm not
Hunter,
sure.
you've been dropping the ball on that, man.
I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I spend hours of time looking up motorcycle videos and stuff like that. But we're going to definitely get you more content on that. Stay tuned. With my wife's permission, there's definitely going to be a bunch of pictures of little Nino, aka Lethal, aka Frisbee. And then we're also going to start recording some battle videos. We're all going to put on headgear, put on some boxing gloves, just freaking get at it and see what you guys think.
Whoever's left standing has to hit the stop button and
Yep.
publish.
What are your thoughts on that, editor?
Hey, it's your channel. Whatever you want. You know, it is easier to make videos and stuff in the wintertime because you don't have all the summer, fall stuff taking up your time.
Yep, and it's also easier to make videos in the summertime because, you know, you're dealing with shoveling snow off and it's cold and I don't feel like it and the days aren't as long. And, you know, I've heard all the excuses, Keith, but
What do you mean? So you're making these excuses in your head?
yeah, I just was reiterating the excuses that you kind of put in my head when I was trying to develop all these videos. So.
Yeah.
You forgot about merch. What about merch? You gonna do any merch?
Yeah. People have been wanting merch, man, and you just keep
You guys are
nothing
going to
happens.
be pretty happy with the designs I got on this merch. It's going to be amazing.
Do we have like a timeline of like, do we have a release date of this merch or what's up?
Yeah, we actually do. It's going to be
It's going to be when
October.
Trump gets reelected.
It's going to be October 11th. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be here to run the show because that's
Well, who's
my
going to run it
son's-
then?
my son's due date. But my right hand man, Keith, is going to be able to
I don't
run
know.
this whole show for me, and he's going to be able to handle all the purchases. He's going to pack everything, ship it. You can count on Keith.
You're going to have to show me how to do this stuff because I don't even know how to turn this thing on. Like, is my mic even working? Like, I just relied on you to.
Hey, you see how you can hear yourself in your mic as you talk in the microphone? That means it's working. So we're
I'm
making
learning.
little
We're making
steps.
progress.
We're making
Okay.
little steps. All right.
Is that button
Teaching
supposed to be
me.
blue?
So my memory card's full, or
Oh.
Hunter's memory card is full.
Oh, okay.
So that's why Hunter pulled up GarageBand over here is doing a
okay.
backup, which is good because last week's episode, like we said, somewhere in between, I think the Rodecaster became unplugged from the computer. So I only had half of the podcast with audio. And I'm like, oh my God. Thank God I remembered to press record on there. So that's why it's full, because it has that full episode on there. So I need to.
What he meant to say is, thank God Hunter texted me to remind me to put that on.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again.
Well, Hunter, first of all, where are they finding everybody?
First off, we're finding everybody on Boomstick Tactical LLC YouTube page. Same for the Instagram. You can find us on Spotify and a bunch of other stuff, probably. And Apple Podcast. And
Do you have a second YouTube channel somewhere and another second podcast?
yeah, you know what? We also have Shotgun Studios, which is amazing. You guys definitely have to check that out. It's a little less gun involved, a little more technical involved. I put a lot of time and effort into that. There's a couple podcasts out now. You definitely should go listen to them. If you're looking for Chrissy Chaos over here, well, he's chaotic. You can't find him anywhere. But I will say, be looking out for that merch. And I'd like to thank my co-hosts, Chris and Keith, for joining me today. And if you have any questions or any recommendations, please leave them down in the comments. Am I forgetting anything? Nope. We're all good. Can't wait to see Keith turn his bike over and ruin that beautiful black paint job.
Douche.
Have a good one.